Hello. Today is episode 19 of Mind Games TV, where I block out all of the trees so that you can't see anything out the window. No, this is about transference from normals to ranked. This is a question that I got about when I play non-ranked games, what's the transference like for playing then ladder games in my esport? And also a little bit of a side note about isolation, like isolation training, drilling something versus training it, in vitro or whatever. Okay, so let's get started. I got this question on Facebook. It was from, not sure if I can say his name. I don't think I asked permission. So it was from a dude or a chick on Facebook, and he or she asked two really awesome questions, and one I'm going to pick apart today and then link him this video so that I don't have to type like a page answer. It goes something like this. He's talking to me, you talked about training with drills and isolating skills instead of training them, in the environment. So that seems really hard to do because people don't let me do it a lot. And then I play normals and it's easier, but then I'm worried about how this skill translates to ranked. And then, quote, I suppose I could just forget about winning and focus only on improvement and try to isolate problems while playing solo queue, but is that the best solution? End quote. Okay, so I want to talk about this because I think it's really important, and I don't want to mislead him by the way I explained drills before might have given him a mistaken understanding of what I was talking about. So first of all, isolation of a skill mentally. I don't mean isolating it completely from everything. That's totally possible. And when you drill something, it's possible to do that, but you can't do that in League of Legends right now or in CS:GO. Well, okay, actually you can in CS:GO. You can isolate something completely in a non-environment, and you can drill it over and over and over again. So that is isolation. But then when you go into a match-made game or a team-based game where you're scrimmaging. So keep in mind, scrimmaging versus drilling. Drilling, you're by yourself, replicating a movement over and over and over again as rapidly as you can, practicing a single motor movement, or like a complex motor movement if you're passing a ball back and forth, or like you're dueling with somebody and you're constantly working on peeking a certain corner or whatever, and trying to get a headshot all the way down the row. That is isolated skill training. But then when you're in a scrimmage environment, you have to isolate skills mentally. So you're supposed to play in the environment and all of the complications that come with it while adding on a single-minded focus to the thing that you're training. So this is a little bit like this example. Juggling while running. So running is a skill, juggling is a skill, but then juggling while running is a third skill. It's independent of the other two. There are some elements of mastery that you can carry over from each of those fields. You can be independently good at both, but that doesn't make you an expert at juggling while running. You have to practice that skill. Training specificity is real. You get better at what you train. You don't get better at what you do not train. So ultimately, you have to practice the skill of juggling while running if you want to get better at juggling while running. Now, the reason that normal games are easier to isolate a skill and focus on it and train it is because it's not running anymore. It's juggling while walking. When you're playing like an easier game with an easier match, you have more brain power to focus on juggling because you're just walking around, you're not running around anymore, which is good for training your juggling while you're moving, but it's not the same as juggling while running. The reason that this is hard is because it's related to focus. Like you are going to constantly get distracted by your failure at this task. You're going to be constantly distracted by the complications of running, by bumping into things, by running over people, by dropping the ball a lot. You're going to be stuck and you're going to try to want to okay, I'm going to start at really slow walking and then speed up, but the game's not going to let you if you're in a ranked game. It's going to force you to keep running while you're learning to juggle. So you have to forget about winning. Growth mindset, growth in mastery of skill, like pursuing the mastery of a skill, is not about the victory condition. It's about learning and forgiving yourself for all of the tripping and falling down. Recently, pro players in solo queue training for the League of Legends World Championship have been criticized a little bit in the last week or so of training there as they're kind of dropping down the ladder. And I see this as a really good sign because failure means that there's focused training going on. It means that somebody is pushing the edge of their limits. that they're focusing on integrating a set of skills, and that those set of skills that they're integrating are not mastered yet. Okay? So training is happening. Perfect play is what worries me. Perfect play means, what are you doing? Are you performing or are you training? Everybody has a limit where their performance lies, where they can be pushing it, where they can be striving past that, and where they can be failing on their way to higher levels of success. Okay, so if you see somebody who's just playing perfectly all the time, likely there is no obstacle there that is forcing them to grow. And that plays true in your training as well. So if you're looking at yourself and you are constantly trying to perform, and you're in a game and you're like, okay, I got to do my best, I got to look the best, I got to perform really well, then you have the wrong mindset going in already. You're seeing yourself at a certain level and you're trying to like show off that level or be like, this is the level I am. You're trying to prove it to people. I want to prove to people that I am this or I am that. That has nothing to do with getting better at a skill or a game. You have to go in with the mindset of, I entered the game with the skill level. I want to leave the game with a higher skill level. I got to find the edge of my performance and I have to push past that. I need to focus on something that I can take to the next level, and I have to start trying to do that move or that skill while I'm still maintaining a high level of performance and everything else. And my striving to do that is bound to cause me to fail repeatedly in the attempt of pursuing mastery of that thing. And so you slowly improve. So that's my answer, Mr. Facebook message. I'm going to ask you before I do tomorrow's video, because actually part 2 of your question is tomorrow's video, so I'm going to ask if I can permission to use it. But anyway, this podcast was sponsored by Mind Games GG. Visit there for blog posts, podcast posts, and of course this video series, and also my free training, Foundations in Esports Psychology, where I take you through the greatest hits of our blog and kind of hold your hand through the kind of the fundamentals of high performance and pursuing mastery in any sport, in any performance really. And if you want to support this podcast or this video, I guess it's not really a podcast, maybe it's a video podcast, head over to mindgames.gg/patron, and you'll see there that there's the option to support us for $5 a month, and you can get cute little bonuses and have your name on the website as a patron there. And hopefully soon, if I can afford a video editor, somebody can write your names all at the end of these videos, which somehow is incapable. I mean, okay. Growth mindset. Well done. Growth mindset. I could master this and become a really good video editor, and I could probably get your credits all up at the end of the videos. So I will strive to keep learning iMovie until I can figure it out. Until next time, off to the trees.